It's time to get down to business on TK Business Live, brought to you by the members of the Topeka Independent Business Association. Now, let's join Tara Dimmick, owner and publisher of TK Business Magazine, as we take a look into the business world of Topeka, Kansas.
Hi, and welcome to TK Business Live. I'm Tara Dimmick, and we have got a great show coming up. We've got Karl Klein, Regional Director of the Washburn University, Kansas Small Business Development Center. He'll be talking with us about some of the programs they have going on, 712 Innovations, succession planning, e-community. So stay tuned. It'll be a great show. And then we'll get a chance to talk with Brian Thomason. He's the CEO of Blue Valley Networks of Companies. So you might know Networks Plus. Blue Valley acquired Networks Plus. And so we're going to get a chance to talk with him a little bit about that acquisition and what's in store and planned for Blue Valley and the networks of companies that they have, which now include Networks Plus. I have Karl Klein joining me. He is the Regional Director of the Washburn University, Kansas Small Business Development Center. So welcome, Karl.
Hey, thanks for having me, Tara. It's great to be here.
A little bit of a tongue twister, so I was kind of doing a little cheer over here about getting it right.
You did an excellent job with that.
No, I'm pretty excited. Okay, so we're going to talk a lot about what some of the services are and all the different things going on over at the Washburn University, Kansas Small Business Development Center. But before we do that, I want to talk a little bit about this e-community. So explain exactly what's kind of going on and in the works right now.
Sure. There was a real nice article in the paper today about the e-community and what it represents. In light of a better way to put it, the e-community funding, sponsored in part by Network Kansas and local monies, is used as risk capital for, in this case, rural Shawnee County and underserved markets. It'll be a nice pool of money to help with startups and to help businesses grow. And it's all put through a loan committee that the community team locally develops and makes those decisions on who gets the loan. It's also used in conjunction with public capital or private capital to leverage more of that money at about a 60-40 split. So, for example, if a person came to the table with $20,000 of private or public capital, that would leverage about $30,000 of e-community funds for a total loan package of approximately $50,000.
Wow. Okay, so that kind of blew my mind a little bit. So if we could just repeat.
Yeah, sure. Very, very simply put, it's leverage capital that can be used to access public and private capital. Again, if a bank lent a person $20,000 based on the formula, they could get $30,000 if approved of e-community funding for a total lending package of $50,000. If they had $10,000, $20,000 to put into that as well, that would even up the ante on what they had to start a small business or expand their existing business.
Okay, so what's the process that's going on right now to make this e-community happen?
So we're at a critical juncture in the whole process, as we are just now in the application process and are in need of verbal commitments for e-community dollars pledged to be donated. So for roughly every $100 of, let's put it in terms of $1,000 of e-community donated funds, you would get a 75%, or in that case, a $750 tax credit towards your Kansas tax liability. There's some other tax advantages that can be done with that as well, but that is kind of the crux of what the monies are designed and how they can be taken advantage of.
Well, and I've worked in the tax credit world a little bit, and it is amazing what it can do to leverage money from the community to make something really amazing happen. And so this is a huge opportunity, especially a 75-25 tax credit.
And the great thing about these funds is they are local. They can stay local, and they're decided to be used on local businesses. The big problem right now in getting these funds committed to is the fact that people don't know their tax liabilities for 2016. But the great part of that is that those funds can be in those tax credits, can be carried forward from year to year. So they're not going to lose anything by making that community commitment.
And it can be by an individual or a business, correct?
Yeah, your typical best customer in this case would be somebody that has a person that has a high tax liability or a corporation.
And it's also, if you were planning to make a contribution and you were trying to identify what you wanted to give to, this is a phenomenal thing that you can help the community. If you're interested in entrepreneurship or business and helping the business community, then this is a great way where you can give something, but then you get something back.
Right. You're actually getting a tax credit back. Yes.
Yeah. So definitely something to consider. If somebody is considering that and they're hearing it now, because I know that for me, that's a huge deal. Both the tax credit back and then the fact that I can use my dollars to impact business. Those are good things, right? So
Yes.
if somebody's interested in that, what do they need to do?
They can contact us and we can get them in touch with the right people within the e-community lending team right now, or the application team. Let me put that correctly, the application team. And I can answer some of the questions myself.
So, Karl, let me throw you another question about the e-community. What are you seeing happening? Because there's a lot of e-communities out there. I had no idea until I read a little bit more into this, that there's a lot of e-communities out there doing some really great things. So can you tell about some of the other communities that are using or doing this e-community?
Yeah, I mean, I can speak a little bit from some direct experience. When I first came on board approximately 7 years ago, I was part of helping with the creation of the e-community funding in Pottawatomie County. And I saw it leveraged with some more private capital to really help a business grow and expand to a new location in a very, very small community.
That's great. It really feels like it's that opportunity. We talk a lot about entrepreneurs and startup, but this also feels like it's got that meat to it that helps the small business grow to be a medium-sized business, or the medium-sized business to grow to that next level.
It can help them get over that hurdle. Maybe it's hiring an employee, having some capital for expansion to buy a new truck, equipment, those kind of things. It's a great tool.
Awesome. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about what the Washburn University Kansas Small Business Development Center, what your services are that you're offering entrepreneurs in the area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we service an 11-county region now. We have offices in Manhattan, Kansas, staffed in the Manhattan area Chamber of Commerce. We also have one in Wetmore, Kansas, where we service 3 counties out of there. And then, of course, here in Topeka, we have a couple full-time staff that service the Topeka and surrounding area. We help with really everything from A to Z in business. We help businesses start. We help them grow. We help with succession planning, marketing, finance, really all of those in the form of one-on-one, no-cost consulting. That's our primary charge. In addition to that, we also put on low-cost or no-cost seminars. For example, we do state tax workshops, state Department of Labor workshops. We do QuickBooks training. And then we do a certification series on a regular basis where we help starting businesses really kind of do their due diligence through a business planning workshop, a marketing workshop, and a finance workshop of having the knowledge that they need to go to a bank or to go to somebody and ask for a loan so their business can really be spelled out and put on paper.
That's great. Okay, so one of the groups that I got to work with recently was PTAC.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about what PTAC has going on.
Sure. And a lot of people aren't even aware that PTAC exists.
I wasn't.
PTAC is very similar to what we do in the fact that they provide no-cost one-on-one consulting. They've been around about as long as we have, but PTAC stands for Procurement Technical Assistance Center, which really doesn't ring very well with most people. I think it could be better said that it's help with government contracting. And I think most everybody knows that the government spends more money than anybody, and they do that through a bid process. And to be eligible and qualified for bidding on their contracts or their proposals, you have to be basically certified and have all the I's dotted and the T's crossed. And that is really what PTAC does. They will sit down with you and help you navigate that process for every level from county to state to federal proposals and funding opportunities or purchasing opportunities. So what they have coming up, and let me make sure I get the date right here. We have a PTAC event on creating a capability statement. So it's going to take place right here in Topeka on August the 12th. And at that event, Scott Knapp, who comes up from Wichita State University's PTAC Center, will help the participants understand how do you create a capability statement. And that capability statement is how you represent yourself to the federal government. Well, there's a lot broader implications to that capability statement than just the federal government. An artist could use this. Any small business could use it. in the sense that it shows somebody how to really create a document that states what you do and what you do well and how you can use that to solicit or get business. And that date on that is August the 12th, and it'll be right downtown at the Washburn Small Business Development Center at 9 o'clock.
Oh, great. Okay. So, and from my own experience, it was great to work with Scott. I gotta do a one-on-one with him, and we were working on being a woman-owned business and what that looked like. And my favorite comment that he makes, and I know you are the same way, is that he simply said, "I'm here to help you. That is my job."
Exactly.
And I really enjoyed that statement. I thought, wow, that says a huge thing when somebody just says, "I'm here to help you." How many times do you get that?
Right. I'm glad you brought that up because Scott also comes on a regular basis to Topeka from Wichita. We also have Jim Fikert out of the Johnson County Community College that provides the same services to Topeka and sits down with folks like yourself on a one-on-one basis at no cost to help them, again, navigate the process of government contracting and sometimes determine where the opportunities are and then where they are not.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing what they're willing to do for you. So go check that out. And then the next thing, we got a lot of things to talk about. The next thing I wanted to chat about is business succession and succession planning. And in TK, we did an article just, it ended up being like a 6-page article by the time it was all done, just talking about the ins and out and the importance of succession planning. I mean, it's just a critical need in our community and a business. Any business needs to have it from, honestly, the beginning of the business. It starts at the beginning. So talk a little bit about what you guys do with succession planning.
Sure. And, business succession planning is for most businesses, a very personal and confidential aspect of their business that we talk about. So I would preface this with anything that we talk about is confidential. And we're seeing more and more small businesses approach us on a regular basis about succession planning. And that means selling their business either now or in the future. And in the future is the best time to come see us, ideally 3 to 5 years out, because through that process, we try to help the business really identify some value acceleration that they can create for their business. That means, here's how much I want to sell my business for, and here's how much it's worth now. And we want to get from A to B in 3 to 5 years. We try to help put things in place and help with those processes. In addition, we have some capabilities and some people on our team throughout the Kansas Small Business Development Center that can help give you a non-certified valuation at no cost. That usually involves a half-hour to a 1-hour phone call with one of our qualified consultants that will sit down after looking through your financials just to give you an idea of the market value of your business, which can be very, very valuable because there's many times a disconnect with what you might think your business is worth and what actually somebody else sees your business worth.
And a painful disconnect sometimes because you really have an emotional connection to your business and the work that you've put into it and the time you've put into it. But at the end of the day, you need to know what that number is.
Yes, right. And I know from some personal experience selling my businesses years ago that one went very well and the other went so as far as the actual value and to what the bottom line was when it sold.
Yeah. Okay, so one more thing. 712 Innovations. So Washburn, the Small Business Development Center, you've been a part of this 712 Innovations since it began. What's going on over there?
Yeah, lots of good things going on at 712 and have used 712 in a lot of different capacities. Last semester was the first semester we used it for our students. We actually conducted the capstone entrepreneurship class down there called BU 370, and we had some really great things going on. Students created business plans. One of the more exciting things that they accomplished while they were there was to actually print something out on a 3D printer, which I don't think is normally something that's part of a college curriculum. But they greatly enjoyed that, and they came out with some really cool toys, basically printed out on the 3D printer. Before I forget, I want to tell everybody that right now, through August 29th, we have half off your first month of membership at 712. So, if you've thought about taking advantage of membership, you want to try it out, this would be a really good time to take advantage of either the co-work space or the maker space. And to use a lot of the tools in the maker space, You really need to be certified. But being a member for a month would give you a very good immersion into what's available down there and the capabilities that 712 has for innovations. We've got some great stories coming out of there with even the students. We've got Mark Fearborn of Fearborn Guitars. He's basically building cigar box guitars down at 712 Innovations and some really cool designs that are very marketable. Going to maybe create an e-commerce site for those guitars, and who knows where he can go with that. We had Kennedy White as a student who created and won several competitions this year with his D18 project on an energy consulting business. He really carried that to the next level using some of the resources of 712. We have several people operating their businesses out of 712 right now. One is Brian Falk, who operates his architectural firm out of there. So just a lot of cool things going on at 712.
Yeah, so talk a little bit about the membership. You mentioned the membership and the great discount for the first month. Mm-hmm. It kind of reminds me of like a gym.
It is.
Is that a good?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a gym for your mind. I think that's probably how those have been equated to in the past. But I mean, a membership to 712 right now is 24/7 access to come down and use the facilities as you see fit. I did want to reemphasize the fact that to use the equipment, like the 3D printers that we have down there, the laser cutter, the Tormach milling machine, the ShopBot CNC machine, any of those things, you must be certified and checked out. And we do have regular classes on those occurring on an almost weekly basis to help you get certified. So it's a pretty quick ramp up just to make sure that you can use that equipment safely and you're knowledgeable about the basic process and procedures. It doesn't take long at all.
And this is 712 is one of the first. Is it one of the first ever that combined the makerspace and the co-work space in Kansas? Yeah. So the co-work space, let's talk just a little bit about that. And when they're a member, they get an area to work. They get the boardroom, which has all the technology that you would need to have a meeting, to showcase maybe something, do a sales pitch, or have a group come together. Maybe your team doesn't have a location that they can meet at, so you're always landing at a coffee shop. This is a very professional feel, and not just professional, but fun professional. And I like that element of it.
I mean, you're just really spot on with that. It's a professional workplace where you have access to a lot of different tools and material, from the printer to some time in the conference room to connections and collaborative work environment. Right now, we do have some desk spaces available down there, and I think there is one shared office space available in 712 as well. And those can be rented in addition to the membership for additional cost. But very, very cost effective.
So, Karl, how can somebody get more information about 712 Innovations?
Well, we're very lucky. We have Karen Christelis, our executive director down there, and Karen and her staff is more than available and welcome to do tours of 712 during normal operational hours. I would recommend just calling 712 and asking for a tour, going down and let Shuhan or David or Karen give you a tour and show you what it's all about. And really, they can tailor that tour to how it could best suit your needs.
Great. Well, Karl, thank you so much for joining me. It was great having you on the show. And go check out all the different things that are going on and the opportunities you have to grow your business with Washburn University Kansas Small Business Development Center. Thanks, Karl.
Thank you for all your support, Terry. You're a great asset.
My name is Jennifer Kermis, Vice President of Business Development with the Jura Credit Union.
TIBA is advice and support. TIBA is information and education. TIBA is a voice for small businesses.
My biggest advantage would be being able to network and get to know who all of the members are of TIBA and how their businesses operate, what the different needs are for their business, and really get to understand the different business opportunities that are out there in Topeka.
The Topeka Independent Business Association is strong because of its members. Become a member today by visiting topekatiba.org.
I have Brian Thomason joining me. He's the CEO of Blue Valley Networks of Companies, which includes Networks Plus, which a lot of people here in Topeka are familiar with Networks Plus. Welcome, Brian.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here with you.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. So, first of all, before we even get into any of that, tell us a little bit about you.
Oh, sure. I'm new to Kansas, relatively new. Only been here 3 years, but boy, do my wife and I love this state. It's a beautiful place to be. It's a great place to do business. I have been in the telecommunications industry for 36 years now. I started with Verizon. We've moved to numerous states in the Midwest. Had the opportunity to come here to Kansas to be part of the Blue Valley network of companies, and we're actually thrilled to be here. It's an exciting place to be.
Yeah, we're excited to have you.
Well, thank you.
And we're excited to hear about what's all going on. So talk a little bit about this acquisition of Networks Plus by Blue Valley.
Mm-hmm. Blue Valley acquired Networks Plus, I believe, about a year and a half ago. The company was formed by a very astute entrepreneur, Mr. Morgan, out of Manhattan. He did a great job building the company, developed it over years. He presented the opportunity for us to purchase the company, and it was a great fit. Networks Plus was a very good company as far as IT consulting and support. Our company, Blue Valley Tele-Communications, had started a data center and also a co-location facility, which at that time Networks Plus didn't offer. So being able to go in and acquire Networks Plus, add those additional new technology features to it, was almost a no-brainer for us. It was an exciting time, and we're continuing to build the company.
Well, that's amazing. So what is kind of the plan as you continue to move forward with Blue Valley Network and with Networks Plus? What do you see for the future of those two, of really the company as a whole?
Mm-hmm. Well, the legacy company, which is Blue Valley Telecommunications, is a cooperative that's been in business for over 60 years. Our whole purpose in existing is to continue to provide great service to those who we serve in that 1,000 square miles in northeast Kansas. How Networks Plus fits into it is we're using the high-end technology that Blue Valley Telecommunications is now known for really nationally, which is exciting. I'd love to be able to talk more about that. And grow Networks Plus. Grow Networks Plus to be even more of a powerhouse as far as IT consulting goes in the state of Kansas and really beyond, but specifically in the data center world and managed services, being a true leader and providing additional great support for the business communities here in the state.
Well, that's absolutely incredible. And then I want you to talk about some of the recognition that Blue Valley has been getting.
Oh, I appreciate that, Tara. We have been so honored over the last few years, things that our company has been given the opportunity to receive and partake in. We were put in the Wall Street Journal and the Financial Times out of London about 2 years ago, as far as being the second company in the United States, according to those media outlets, to provide gigabit technology to their customer base. Very excited about that. We would have been proud to be in front of Google, but we're okay being the second in the
Number
nation.
2 is not bad in this particular arena.
From that high-end technology that we provide and really a focus on the quality of life, we were humbled to be invited to the White House about a year and a few months ago to be recognized along with other companies for the high-end technology that we're providing to rural America. Boy, what an honor that was. And I have to share this with you and your listeners. I have the opportunity to do some public speaking. Very honored to always do that, but certainly the White House was a major speaking opportunity for me there. It was a 5-minute speech, but it was the most well-rehearsed 5-minute speech that I've ever given. But it went well. It was, again, quite the honor. The company continues to grow, have new opportunities. I had an opportunity to do a TEDx talk here in Topeka back in December, which will be out hopefully by the time that your listeners hear this program. And the topic was feeding the world, which is one of our main focuses as a company, is agriculture, tied to feeding the world. How can we assist with that? Being a media leader, being a technology leader in rural Kansas, what can we do? Well, we have the technical backbone, if you will, to really be a leader and to help the agricultural industry in this state, and hopefully beyond. I recently was in California at a national ag summit put on by Forbes Media, where a group of leaders in the agricultural industry and related industries talked about how they can advance that industry and help feed the world, where we're going to have to double our food production in just really a few years. It was quite the honor to be there. All these other items that I mentioned to you was, of course, an honor as well. We have great employees at Blue Valley who have all worked very hard to make these things happen.
No, that's really impressive, but also really important. And I think that's the biggest part about it. So there was one other thing that you were a part of, and it was through the chamber, Wantrepreneur to Entrepreneur, that you were a panelist. So I am curious, what is your 2 cents on the difference or moving from Wantrepreneur to Entrepreneur?
Planning. Planning to the point of understanding not just your mission, not just your ultimate goal, but planning details out as far as where you want your business to go, your hypothetical business in the case of just starting off, laying out specific goals and timelines for those to be achieved, and then have a strategic plan and initiative that doesn't just tie out the plan but has action items associated with them. At our company, we're a firm believer in strategic plan development, but prior to that, and a critical component of it is actually developing business plans, business cases for any product or service that we're looking at potentially offering as far as that strategic initiative goes. We've done that at our company over the last several years, and what that's given us is the ability to move our company forward quickly in some important initiatives. And anyone wanting to move forward their entrepreneurial ideas, I think, can really benefit from taking that approach. Stepping into a business opportunity without having a detailed plan, including business plans for products and services, well thought out before you even really put that to a strategic plan and then execute upon it, I think is absolutely critical, which was a long-winded answer to your question. But, boy, this is something I'm really passionate about, so I appreciate you asking.
No, it's a great answer. I think it's so often that it is, we think that it's okay for it just to be on that napkin, right? Mm-hmm. That napkin, the great inventive thought that we had. And so it's really taking that and moving it to the next level.
Right.
And so it's really powerful information. Okay, so one more question. I'm listening and I am curious or want to have more information about Networks Plus, about Blue Valley. What do I do?
You go out to our website. We actually have 2, one for Networks Plus and one for Blue Valley Telecommunications. You can go to either and toggle back between the 2. And it'll give you preliminary information on us. And we would always love to come out and talk more to business leaders, to community organizations, not just about our company, but about business, about how we're trying to help feed the world through our technology advancements that we're putting in place. So there's several different ways that they can get in touch with us. We love to be out in person and talk to folks.
Well, great. Brian, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been great having you.
Thank you.
All right, that was Brian Thomason with Blue Valley Networks of Company, which includes Networks Plus, which you're probably familiar about. He's the CEO there. Thanks so much to my guest for joining me, Karl Klein, Regional Director of the Washburn University Kansas Small Business Development Center, and Brian Thomason, CEO of Blue Valley Networks of Companies, which includes Networks Plus. Also, go check out Topeka Independent Business Association. They're the sponsor of TK Business Live, and you can learn more about them at topekatiba.org. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I hope you have a fabulous week.
Thanks for joining Tara and her guests on TK Business Live. Join us again next Sunday at 11:30 to hear more from our community business leaders, entrepreneurs, and people making a difference in the landscape of how business is progressively moving forward in Topeka. TK Business Live is brought to you by the members of the Topeka Independent Business Association.